So seeing as it's Halloween month, actually close to Halloween, I wanted to make something spoopy. But I also kind of made a realization. It definitely didn't happen intentionally, but a lot of my projects, including the one I'm currently working on that has not come out yet, are all kind of just grotesque monsters. So I kind of wanted to do something, you know, warm and fuzzy, but also spoopy. So it occurred to me, what better way to represent Halloween spoopiness than the Sultans of Spoop themselves, the Scooby Doo Gang? I decided the best way to go about doing this is probably going to be polymer clay, which I'm afraid of doing because I don't have much experience with polymer clay. I've only made grotesque monsters with polymer clay, so I'm going to be interested to see if I can pull off cartoony humans. So I guess without further stalling, let's just dive into it. All right, so first things first, we need to make an armature, which is basically like our skeleton for our mystery crew. I decided to start with Fred because he's like the largest mass-wise, so that actually kind of sets my scale for the rest of the project. And yep, get him bent into shape. And at this point, we pretty much just start globbing on as much clay as we can. Well, not as much, but you know what I mean. Fred's body shape is actually fairly triangular, so we're basically just gonna broaden out his shoulders, get his chest all big and puffy. There are many methods for attaching the feet onto the body. This is the one I use. It works best for me. Remind me to teach you all how to do that at some point. Once it gets to that point though, we're gonna start trimming the feet down so they're not, you know, blobs, actually look like shoes. And there is our rough shaped Freddy at the moment. So next, we are going to be working on some hands. And hands are the bane of all artists. They're not easy. But yeah, we just cut 4 little slots out, kind of roll them out so they look like fingers, and then get that out of my face. Kind of curl them up so it looks like a, you know, hand that's curled. Then we'll add another little wormadeely on the side, which will act as a thumb. Make a little bit of palm detail, and we just stab it right onto the armature wire, which was not exposed a minute ago. Then we bulk out the sleeve so that it looks like it's a sleeve and not just, you know, naked arm. I'm gonna cut this little line right here, and then I'm gonna take some material off underneath it, and that makes it look like the shirt is overlapping his pants. I'm all for not doing hands if I can get away with it, so this hand's gonna be in his pocket. Then to smooth everything out, we're gonna give it a brush down with isopropyl alcohol. So next is the head, and I've only sculpted Demogorgon before, so I know how to do it in theory, but I've never actually done it before. Just trust me, it looks better, I promise. But we definitely almost made a you know, former U.S. president at one point. But I guess that's just part of making Fred. Then you just put it on the body, the head, I mean. We're gonna add his trademark ascot right now, which we're adding the knot in the middle. I'm gonna cut off some little leaf petal-y thingies. And while I'm have cutting on the mind, I'm also gonna go ahead and start making his collar, which is just rolling out a sheet of clay, cutting a little strip, and folding it in half. It's really that easy. Then you just go ahead and plop it onto his shoulders, wrap it around. We'll blend it in using one of my stylets. I don't know what they're called, I just call them styluses. Hope that's correct. And I wanted his hair to look like hair, so I went ahead and added some hair texture. Go ahead and add some wrinkles onto his shirt, which creates the illusion that it's real and not clay. To me, anyway. Just blend those in. And there you go, there's Fred. Fred is done. So now we have our scale set for every other character that we do. So I figured next we'd do Daphne. And the picture I'm going off of is weird, so my armature wire looks ridiculous. Here it is for reference. It makes more sense when you see it. But yeah, just same process, just gonna glob on some clay. We're pretty much just covering the wire skeleton with as much clay as we see fit. Once we have her armature bulked out, I'm gonna roll out some clay and I'm gonna cut that, and that will become her skirt. Let's pause for 1 second. The astute observers among you may notice that these are not the same armatures. Yeah, I kind of ripped one of her legs off on accident. But yeah, we just go ahead and plop on the skirt. We're gonna blend that into her hips, and yeah, now it just looks like there's clothing, even though there's really just 2 little flaps. I'm gonna start warming on some more clay onto her arms. Daphne has super thin arms, so I'm pretty much just trying to go the exact thickness of the armature wire. Alright, so after we're done with that, we are ready to make a head. So first you roll out a ball, then you drop it. Then we're gonna just make a little indent, which is gonna set our eyes and nose placement. And after skipping a bunch of steps, there's your face, even though it looks like a porcelain demon doll creation. But hair heals all wounds, so we're gonna roll out this little blob, stick it on her forehead, blend that in, add some little curly stuffies, And there you go. Now she has bangs, and she already looks less demonic. And we'll pop that onto the armature, just like a head on a pike. And I'm gonna start rolling out some clay so that we can start making her scarf. Is it an ascot? Wait, do Fred and Daphne both wear ascots? Am I just now realizing this? Is it a scarf? I don't know. Let me know what you think down in the comments. But first we're gonna just roll that out, lay it onto her shoulders, cut it into shape that I want, because it's a little too bulky right now. It's not really scarfy, it's more like, actually it's too scarfy. It needs to be more ascot-y. Then we'll blend that into the rest of the body so it's a little more seamless. Add some warmy dealies so that it looks like wrinkles. I'm sorry, I don't even know what to say right now. My whole worldview is rocked. We've all given Fred crap about his ascot, but Daphne's been wearing one the whole time. This isn't fair. I made a little shape that will actually become her hair. I don't know how to do this, so this seemed to work best for me. Blend it into shape, add some rolls, cut some little pieces so that it looks separated and stuff, and smooth it all out. And yeah, actually looks pretty good. So next we're gonna do her feet, which are just blobs that you stick on and point. She has these weird little wings on her shoes that I never noticed before. So I'm just like cutting a little shape, attach those to the feet, smooth it out using a ball stylus. Next, more hands, which again I hate doing so much, but yeah, more just blending of blobs. And then I'm gonna cut little lines out for the fingers, define those a little bit better, and then clean up the edges, round them over a little bit, and I actually need to come back through and add a little separation for the sleeve and the hand. And that is Daphne. That one went fairly well, better than I was expecting. So next we're gonna move straight on to Velma. Once you're happy with your armature wire, it is important that you just chuck it out of your life. So same process, blobbing on clay until we are happy with the way that it is blobbed. This actually was a really painful process, and I regret making the armature wire that shape because her legs were together and that made her very unstable, and she kept rotating and I kept ripping the clay. You know, you probably didn't need to know that, but now you know that. You can suffer with me or just laugh, either one. Same process though, just putting on little bits of clay. We're actually going to bulk up her arms and add some wrinklies. All that texture is going to make it look like she has sleeves. Add another little lump right at the end. That looks like her sleeve is bunched up. Gonna cut out a little strip, and we're gonna wrap that right around where the clump meets the arm, and then there you go, you got a sleeve. Perfect little sleeve ending. Then we're gonna start with her head. I'm gonna show this one a little bit better because I kind of just glossed right over Daphne. And unintentionally just did the same thing again. I forgot that I didn't record as much as I thought. But there you go, there's a Daphne, or a Velma face. Looks pretty good. Again, head on a pike. To help her with the pain of having her head placed on a pike, we're gonna give her a neck brace, which will actually become the collar of her turtleneck. So next, we need to make her glasses, and I was not sure the best way to go about doing this. So I just cut out 2 little rectangles, rounded the edges over a little bit, then I placed them down onto my baby anvil, which is adorable. Heated them up with the heat gun so they became rigid, then I sanded them into the shape that I wanted. Placed them back on the baby anvil, connected them with a little piece of clay, and heated them again with the heat gun. Mysterious this time because it's out of frame. After that, we're gonna just press it into her face. Don't acknowledge the fact that I burnt the you know, little arm thing on her glasses. But then we add on a bunch of blobs of clay, which will become her hair after adding a bunch of texture and stuff. More hands. Hate them so much after this project. Seriously, I will not be able to put into words how much I hate doing hands. Little tiny hands and fingers. So frustrating. Had to cut out a little finger so she's pointing with the Eureka stance, I guess I would call that. We're gonna roll out a bunch of clay, super thin. I'm going to cut them all into equal lengths and then cut them again so that we get little tiny rectangles, and then by overlapping those underneath the shirt, that's gonna create her skirt. And then blend those in a little bit. Next we gotta do shoes, which actually is easy with Velma. It was literally just like little pointed blobs, and Velma is done. So next we're gonna move on to Shaggy, which is if I could describe making Shaggy in 2 words, it would be baggy and lanky. So we're gonna make everything really skinny, really bulk out the pants because he's got super baggy pant legs. Really needed to bulk out his sleeves because they actually stick out a bunch, but his arms are super skinny. So I'm gonna add this little wormy dealy right here, blend that in. And when we hollow that out and add some, you know, ripples or whatever you'd call those, that makes it look like he has a baggy t-shirt on. Add another one onto his waist, which once blended looks like the shirt coming to, you know, an end, I guess. That's a weird way of putting it. add more wormy dealies so we can add some wrinkles. And we're going to do the exact same thing to the pants. His pants are super baggy, actually. I was looking at pictures, so we added a little more, probably than we needed to, but I think it looks good. I think the result was still worth it. So for the face, just make a bean and add a smaller bean onto that bean. And there's your nose on the face. And I lost all of my footage for making all of the face details, so just go with me on that one. Adding some hair, same way we did with Velma, just a blob, and adding some more little lines to it. And once more, hands. I actually didn't even record the hands this time because I was so done doing hands. And there's Shaggy. Shaggy's actually really easy, probably the easiest one out of all of them to do. So that only leaves Scooby Doo left. And I'm so frustrated with Scooby Doo because my SD card got corrupted. So I lost like half of the files that I had for making Scooby. But I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory, you know? Like, armature, bulk it out. Cut out little arms. He's got nice broad shoulders and a big puffy chest, but a tiny stomach. Long tail, like actually not realistic at all. It's more like a panther tail. Like a leopard or a jaguar, if you live in the UK, I guess. Gonna sploot out some little toe pads, adorable little toe pads. Lie those out. Gonna put another blob on his head. Well, on the spike that will become his head. We're gonna create the line for his mouth, cut out little shapes for his eyes, which I will go back and round over later. I just cut out triangles and folded them, and so that's how I made the ears. Really, really simple. Added a little strip for the collar, and then another little diamond for the tag. And Scooby's really actually that easy. And I guess it didn't even matter that I lost like 17 videos of footage. All right, so I debated even doing Scrappy, but I figured I might get some hate for doing it. So I decided to do Scrappy the way that I envision Scrappy. Whenever I think of Scrappy, this is what I picture. And you know, it's Halloween, so you know, I figured we needed something spooky in there. Made our armature, gonna just bulk that out with a lean but muscly figure. Accurately display Scrappy as the hellhound that he truly is. Wiry tail, bony back, strong shoulders, unnaturally skinny, kind of alarming looking legs, which was actually the point. To make the head, I just made like kind of a rectangle, rounded everything out, used one of my styluses to kind of isolate the muzzle. And it's weird, at this point you could be either making a dog or a bear, and that really, I don't know how I feel about that. Before you add any ears, like it looks like a bear right now. It looks like I'm making a grizzly bear. But we just roll out a little bit of his mouth so it's a little more concave. I'm gonna come back with a ball stylus so his nose is all wrinkled and snarling looking. Gonna put that on the frame. And I really wanted him to look like a, you know, demon creature not of this universe. So I really, really bulked his neck up so that he looked extremely unnatural. And now comes the fun process of adding teeth, which really just entails making a lot of little tiny pointy things, baking them, and then sticking them into place wherever you feel that they need to go. It's actually really satisfying. Same thing with Scooby. To make the ears, just cut out a triangle, fold them in half, and I'm gonna curl them because he is a hellhound. Place them on, blend them in, and there's your ears. Next, we're gonna make feet, which are a little bit different from Scooby's, but not much. Really, you're just making a ball, cutting out little, well, not cutting, but defining little bally toe pad thingies. And the only difference between this and what I did with Scooby is adding little slots, which we will be adding some big old talons into. And it always looks uncomfortable. But there you go. There is Scrappy Doo, the way that I picture Scrappy Doo. When I think of Scrappy Doo, this is what I see in my head. I don't know what that says about me or what it says about Scrappy Doo. Maybe, I don't know. But here is the entire Scooby Doo gang. So it is now time to grab our brushes and start painting. And this was an interesting experience. I never knew how much the palettes of the Scooby Doo characters are actually shared. So for example, Scooby and Scrappy, same color. That's not too shocking. Velma's shirt is the same color as Fred's ascot. Did you know that that same color is the same color as Daphne's hair? Velma's hair is the same color as Shaggy's pants. I don't know why this blew my mind so much, but I was shook. Like, my worldview will never be the same after this, because I thought they were all unique colors. No, those lazy creators just recycled so many colors, and it just, I don't know how I feel about it. What you're watching right now is me adding Scrappy's beady little eyes. So, now that everything is sculpted and painted, it's time to make a base. So I'm going to take some of this, which is just XPS foam, I spray a little bit of silver spray paint on it. The aerosols actually make it dissolve a little bit, so you get a nice kind of rocky texture. Then I add some black into the low points, dry brush some lighter tones on it, kind of going for like a road look. So now I'm going to take a stack of XPS foam and bring it over to Alexis, who offered to help. And magically, this stack is going to turn into a bus shape. Thank you so much, Alexis. I did not have time to make this, and she offered to help, and it was a massive help. You can see her hands painting as we speak. Look at those hands. In fact, check that knuckle out. That's a nice knuckle. Anyway though, now it's back to my hands, painting it green. Just going through and adding all the different colors that are necessary. Nice grayish white blue color for the window. I made a few stencils so that I didn't have to freehand the flower patterns. Same with the Mystery Machine logo. I did not want to try to do those letters freehand. Just go ahead and glue our tires on using some hot glue because nothing else would stick. And then we can actually attach that to the base. But first, we have to actually drive all of our, crew, the gang, into the base first. Which is exactly why I left some lengths of the armature wire sticking out, because then they can just stab right down into the base. Just using some hot glue to get them all settled in. And that's actually everything. Alrighty, it's finished, and it's finished. I'm very happy with certain aspects. I'm not very happy with other aspects. I think for a first attempt at making characters like this, I'm happy with that. But man, I need to work on my faces. I'm definitely gonna be practicing cartoony faces on my own time, because Shaggy looks a little, he's seen some stuff, man. You can probably tell where my comfort zone is because Scrappy looks awesome. I'm actually really, really happy with Scrappy. And I will say, actually, Velma came out like exactly how I wanted it to. Velma looks great, Scooby looks good, Daphne looks okay, Fred looks sad. Look at his eyebrow. But I mean, they all look good if you do this. I think the bodies look really good on all of them. It's just, man, I need to practice on my faces. But that being said, I am still happy with it. I think it looks good, and I know where I need to practice more now. And in the meantime, I think we're gonna go back to making monsters. All right, everyone. Well, I think that is gonna do it for this one. Even if Shaggy's face creeps me out, this was still a very, very fun project, and I had a lot of fun making all of them, and it was actually really, really good practice to do so many characters all in one go. So, I think we're definitely going to be doing more Polymer clay at some point. If this is something that you enjoy, consider liking and subscribing because we are just getting the ball rolling on this channel, and we will have a lot more projects. Well, not like this, more like this, hopefully. But yeah, I think that's going to do it for this one. I hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you next time. Also, happy Halloween.